So it's day after Thanksgiving. I got this Coyote car here. I'm gonna put a gear in it. So let's get a gear in this thing today. Work on swapping the gear out and all that stuff. Get it took care of. Get it back to them. All right. Pulled that roll bar out of it. The panhard bar. Dropped it down. Pulled the pan off of it. Pulled the yoke. Went ahead and pulled the yoke nut off of it. Now I got the differential caps loose. I gotta pry it out, keep up with my caps for my measurements. And then I gotta knock the pinion out of it, pull the shim out of it, check it, see what it is, and then I can start figuring out what I need to do to put it back together. All right, I got the bearing off there, got the shim, got the new pinion, new bearing. Stick it all up in here. We'll start checking it, our backlash and all, and see what our tooth print is, see if we need to adjust any of this. So if you look, I'm high here, I'm low there. My pinion, the shim's too thick, so I gotta pull all this back apart, pull the shim out of it, put a thinner shim on it, go back together with it, try it again. I moved it in, I moved it out. The best contact patch I can get is there. And the other side is on the inside. I don't know what's up with this gear, but I can't seem to get it to move where I need it to move to. I've been in, out, left, right. Just keep on fighting issues. Well, it's Sunday. Race day. Track day. Home clean screen day. Well, it's Sunday. Outside laid on the ground. I decided to go ahead and put this transmission in. That Coyote car, I cannot get the gear set right in it. I have changed shims and played. I've never had a motorsports gear that was this far out. They just will not. So here shortly, I'm just gonna go through and swap back to the stock gear, let him know the deal, because I can't send that thing out here roaring and making noises like it. I mean, it sounds freaking terrible, and I keep moving it, and it ain't making no changes in it. So I really think it's a defective gear. So I'm gonna go through and finish this job up. I'm gonna give him his money back on the other one, let him just put the stock gear back at, let him come pick it up and get on to make some money this week, because the holidays hit me pretty hard. Taking a couple of days off. I ain't used to taking days off, so taking days off and spending money eats into your wallet real quick. So it's time to make some money. So let's get this thing in here real quick and get the rock and rolling on some other things. Pro Mod race truck. Look at this. Look at this. What's that for? Yep, she's a race truck. Super cool truck. I ain't gonna lie. Of course, it's a Chevrolet, so you knew it would be. Got a little exhaust that taps the fender over there. Steering wheel's a little crooked, which it might have a quick release on, so it might just be the quick release, but it's definitely pretty freaking cool. Trans works great. Jason Richards done a killer job on it. All thing about it is, it ain't got great steering because one for one-handed. I don't think it has a manual box on it. Definitely a good running truck though, for a full size. Yeah, that power steering like a combo. Check the fluid in, I think it's pretty good. Should be alright. Man, I about gave up on this one. Look at that pattern, how pretty it is. I almost gave up. I'm gonna tell you what I did. So hold on one second. So I went through. Yesterday I was so aggravated. I could not get the pattern right. Kept moving shims. It was not changing. I said, man, that's freaking crazy. I said, I'm just gonna put the stock gear back in it. It didn't wind. I'm gonna send it back to him. Just give him his money back to him. I can't do it. I was aggravated. So got up this morning. Well, last night. So I put stock gear back in it last night. Ended up, got it together. Same deal. Like when I stuck it together, it was tight as hell. It was just super tight. The shims wasn't right. I was having to move it around. I said, that ain't right, because that worked before. So I was like, either the housing's bent or something's wrong with this thing. There's no way. I put stock gear back in with the stock shims. And now I said, well, the only thing I changed was the pinion bearing, which is normally what I do. I'll swap pinion bearing. I'll knock one pinion bearing out. I'll knock another one back in it and roll with it. So I said, hold on. I said, let me see if that race is different. So I ordered a new bearing and a new race this morning. Come down here, I went over to Nigel's. I measured between this pinion and the old pinion. The old pinion had a 28 thousandths shim in it. This one was 4 thousandths larger, so I went 4 thousandths less, so I went 24 on it. When Nigel's pressed it together, make sure I had it super, super tight pressed. Come back. I said, well, let me knock that race out. I knocked the race out of it, stuck it on my thing. Bam, there's the issue. The race, it wasn't seating all the way. Even though it was a factory, it was a bearing supposed to be the same as factory. The taper was different and it was holding it out. So knocked the other race in it, put the new bearing, put the new seal on the front of it, got everything set right. Used my factory shims on it, set it up, rotate it, perfect. So sometimes it's something that simple cause you a whole lot of headache. It caused me a lot of lost sleep over the past 2 or 3 nights trying to figure out what's going on with this thing. All right, let's get it together now. Let's try this thing up the road, see how she does. He said he left the programmer in here for me to go through and to change the tire size. I'm gonna drive it first, and then, or not tire size, but the gear ratio. I'm gonna drive it first, and then I'll change it in a minute. See how she does. Sounds pretty good to me. New gears, you can barely hear them, but it ain't bad. Like I said, you can just tell when there's new gears. It takes them a minute to get seated and all that, but it don't sound bad at all. Early this morning, helped Tony get the motor out of this whole truck. Check out this shop right here. Tell me how sweet this place is. All them damn trophies. This is a perfect little race shop right here. Got trophies everywhere. Look at it. But yeah, like I said, we'll pull this motor out so you can get it freshened up. So we got it almost ready to come out right now. Thing was fighting, we couldn't get it out of the transmission, so finally I just pulled the shifter off of it. The transmission mount was already broke. We just pulled it all out together. Now we can pull it apart and get the motor fixed, get it back together. Pilot bush was stuck on the input shaft. That's why we couldn't get it out. Pulled it out of the crankshaft, so I had to take the bolts loose, slide apart. So now we gotta get that off there and we'll be good. Slacking on the videos this morning. I think it's Thursday. I messed around and come up here and done some door pins on the S10 Mercury Modern, two-door Blazer, S10 Blazer, whatnot, 2-door truck, 85. Come over here and knocked out some door pins real quick. Didn't take me about 15 minutes. Charged him $75 to sell. It was easy. All I had to do was knock 2 pins out, slide the door over enough, put the 4 bushings in, knock the new pins in it, ready to rock and roll. So now I gotta go from here. I gotta go pick up an Avalanche, the one we done the motor on. It's throwing a code for the evap stuff, so I gotta get over here and get it tore down, pull the evap switch off of it, and go through and get it back together. So that way it'll I can get it done today. And then I gotta do a water pump on excursion today, water pump thermostat on it. Then I got some little odds and ends. I got to ride by, check out wiring harness on a truck that caught on fire, see what I need to fix it. A pretty busy day planned today, and then plus all that, I'm still trying to get the headers on the S10. I have the driver's side's pretty much on it. It needs to be tweaked just a little bit. I'll have it done. I got the motor mounts where I need them, all that. I got to cut the drive shaft loop back loose and weld a new hoop. The hoop, got to move it over like probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches, because now it's touching the drive shaft the way the motor is in there where I moved everything over. So got to build a new transmission cross member. But first I got to get these headers. I got to cut this one header up so that way it don't hit the A-arm, and we can get that header on it. So once I get that header on it, I'm going to go through and I had notched out for the air conditioning one time on the frame. So for AC compressor, I had AC on and I took it back off. I'm going to go ahead and finish boxing it because I ain't never boxed it. I just cut it out and put the compressor on it. So I'm going to go ahead today, before I put these headers on, I'm going to go ahead and box all that back in. And like I said, I got to get her nodules and redo this one primary tube. And then I'll be able to turn around and put the truck back together. I'm thinking about going and moving the battery back to the bed. It used to be in the bed. I moved it back to the front. I've moved it like 5 different times over the years. I think it's about time to put it back underneath the back of it for what we're trying to do. So we'll see. Alright, let's go change out this evap stuff on this thing. I'm probably going to run it by. I need to put my seatbelt on. Probably going to run it by and go ahead and get it inspected and all for her. That way she don't have to do it, because she's been trying to get it inspected. So she's been trying to do so. Probably just going to take care of it myself. Alright, I spun the fan off of it, pulled my 4 bolts loose. I'm going to knock my pulley loose, and I'm going to start pulling my water pump bolts. So I pulled it off. Look at that right there. It's missing a blade on it. I didn't see it up inside of it when I turned around and took it loose. So it went somewhere in the motor, but like I said, that thing, you see how thin them blades are. That's why it ain't circulating water like it should. Alright, so now we're going to go drive it, warm it up, get the thermostat open and all. I'll put a new thermostat in it too while I was at it. Let's go see how this thing does, see if that fixes our problem. We're going to put a spindle on this Tiburon. Where it ate the ring off of it. The whole inside bearing, all that stuff's ate to crap. Look at it. It just kept driving it, kept driving it. Look at the hub up in there. So there wasn't no bearing on it. Luckily we got us a good used part. She's a little screwed. First test drive in a long time, listening to them brakes squeak. Alright, well, it's 4:30. It's actually a pretty late day for me. Normally I'm done long before this. I'm working on my own stuff, but some days you gotta be like that, you know. I ended up got a lot of stuff done, made a couple dollars. Life's pretty good right now, honestly. So let's get on back to the house, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.